Once again, it's a DG podcast. It was episode 1 or 2.
Two.
What? 2 what?
203.
203. Oh my gosh, am I tired? Jason, not just sleepy tired, just worn out. Life is kicking the crap out of me. Life has dramatically changed for me recently, and I just don't know what to do with myself.
That good, huh?
Good and bad. It's so I went from committed long-term relationship to no committed long-term relationship, from a pet I had for 17 years to him passing away, to not having work for a bit, to suddenly having a good job, to not having been going to school for a bit, to suddenly having enrolled and setting up classes at the moment. And it's all just like I went from one to another and everything dramatically changed. And I don't know what to tell you happened. It's just a crap storm of stuff to deal with. My car's been sitting in storage. Now all of a sudden I got it registered and I got to fix stuff on it and blah, blah, blah. And life is weird. Life is weird, and I can't say I'm still not bummed out about some things, but life is weird. And I was up on campus all day trying to figure out class stuff for a degree that I like and want, and I'm going to finish, but is not a financially good idea.
That good, huh?
Yeah. Well, you have a teaching degree, don't you?
I have several degrees, yeah.
I have several degrees. What degrees do you have, Jason?
I have 2 in MIS and another one in education.
Okay. Well, as you're aware, education degrees, even if you do go on to higher education and teaching, your potential earning is not great. It's okay.
True.
It's okay and it's decent, but it's not great. Education is not a place to go if you plan on earning any money. And I'm not even talking like high-end money, just money.
It depends. We actually advertised for a job a little while ago, and a couple of people applied for the job, and initially we put that like the salary consideration was a certain range, and the
That's a good point, Chance.
My boss was like, "Can we really say that when we can't pay that much for the class or for the job?" And the guy who was in, my boss's boss said, "Yeah, no, there's no problem. We can do that." And the accountant said, "No, we can't do that. You have to change it." And so they put, depending on experience or whatever, and 2 guys applied for the job, and one asked for $150,000, the other asked for $120,000. So if you know where the job is, where to look for it, there are places that are offering tons of money for teaching jobs, but you have to have the right skills.
Specifically on the skill set and the type. If you're in education purely, it's not necessarily, you know what I mean?
Very true. Very true.
Education earns just garbage money. And you kind of have to get to the top end of the education ladder. And even then, most of the time, those jobs are excessively competitive.
Well, yeah, everybody wants the $100,000+ job a year,
Oh,
so
so for point with like the history degree I'm getting, when I finish it, if I wanted to go into teaching, I would not want to go into obviously lower level if I wanted to have any fun with it. So I'd have to get higher education and try and go into higher education teaching jobs. There are so many history degrees on the market that it is dumb. Most professorships, on average, for a history position
Hmm.
tend to get between 2 and 300 applications. They're excessively competitive, and the vast majority of the professors who do get jobs in the country, in the U.S.,
Hmm.
come from like 5 schools.
Okay.
Going education through the history direction is not only do you not earn very much money, but you also end up picking a fight with lots of people to try and get the jobs. You see my point?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're like you said. The thing is that any job that's, I mean, it does extend to any job that's worth getting. A lot of times is going to have that excessive amount of competition. But yeah, I mean, the thing is that if you're in a narrower niche like history, it's even worse.
Oh yeah. The only jobs you can get worse than that, or degrees you can get worse than that, are like philosophy and I don't know,
Yeah.
art degrees or something.
Yeah, and art degrees, yeah.
They hold no value.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna finish it, and we'll see where I go from there. But there's no money in it. Well, there's just nowhere to go with a history degree. There honestly isn't.
Well, with a history degree, and you know, a lot of those the, you know, I don't know what you'd call them exactly, more humanities style degrees.
Yeah.
In philosophy, for instance, in order to make any money at that particular degree, you almost have to pursue an advanced degree. You can't just stop with a history degree. You know, you have to go after the PhD.
They actually did the math on the amount of time it takes to prepare for classes with a history degree and the amount of money you get paid for them at the college level and that sort of thing. And they said on average you probably end up earning less than minimum wage.
Yeah.
And earning less than minimum wage on a job that you're competing with 300 people to get.
Yeah.
So not only do you not earn a lot of money, but you also end up not having to guarantee you get any job anyway.
Right.
And most people that get history degrees move on to do things completely unrelated to it.
Yeah, I had he was my varsity coach. So for Boy Scouts, for varsity scouts, he went through college and got a degree in music, and he was working for the EPA. He went and made sure that, like, Thiokol and stuff, disposed of their rocket fuel properly. There's a guy that I know. He finished school, and his degree was in vocal, so music again, vocal, and he's a police officer. So I mean, a lot of those ones where, yeah, it may be the option that you like the best, because I know you're a huge history buff, and so this is definitely going to be the degree that you want to pursue, because it follows your interests and stuff. A lot of those ones, like you said, they end up getting their degree and everything, but then they end up doing something else.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's just no jobs for it.
Yeah.
And the only thing you can do is education, and education doesn't pay well anyway.
Right.
So yeah. Future prospects are all super great. Chance says, I have several friends who were radio/TV production majors, and now all of them are high school teachers. I will commit suicide before I become a high school teacher. I will hang myself from the tree in the yard. Gosh, not only did I hate high school, but I hate kids in high school. And I guarantee the first day I'm teaching will end up with a few injuries.
Well, see, that's what you do. You walk into class, you take out a few people, and then the rest of the year they're afraid to even look at you funny.
It's like prison yard rules. You just go after the biggest guy in the room, and then they go, well, don't mess with him. Teacher came in and shivved the tall guy in class.
See, that's one of those things. It's like, if teachers could, like you said, if teachers could totally shiv people, class would go a lot smoother, I think.
Yeah. I am definitely a fan of capital punishment in the education system. As far as
That's
that is
awesome.
concerned, I have a bunch of stuff I can talk about. But Jason, despite my weird life and drama, what have you been up to?
Well, I've been playing Retribution, Warhammer, Dawn of War 2 Retribution.
The Purge High School.
Yeah.
No,
I
the
actually...
thing is, it wouldn't be a purely Purge scenario. It would be almost more of a Thunderdome.
Yeah.
But
Thunderdome rules. Yeah, totally.
Go ahead.
In high school. So you and I were playing through the one campaign. I finished the Orc campaign. I finished... trying to think. Did I finish another campaign? Tyranids. Yes, I finished the Tyranid campaign. That was the other one. I started on the Eldar campaign, and boy, the Eldar are squishy.
Oh yeah. Oh, they're not only that, but you don't buy their units. You just like lean heavy on their heroes.
Yeah,
their heroes are awesome. Their units are just terrible. They get torn apart.
Yeah, I'm sitting there going, wait, you have supposedly the most advanced technology out of all of the groups
Ever
that
existed.
that I can choose from, and your DPS is crap. You have like units that should have incredible armor and stuff, and it's going through tissue paper.
Chance is trying to keep the age level and content of the chat down at the moment, but let's keep going.
You mean like he's trying to keep it in the 12-year-old range so that 12-year-olds can understand our show?
12-year-old is too highbrow for Chance's comedy. Keep going. I love the Eldar campaign. You know what you do?
Yeah, it's interesting.
The cheat way to get through the very hard difficulty or whatever.
What's that?
You spend all your time, resources, money on the high damage dealer, particularly the sniper.
Uh-huh.
And you just have him pick off everybody.
He's basically a one-shot kill.
Oh, his range is stupid.
Oh, he has this awesome area. Well, it's not. It's kind of area effect. It's a kinetic something or other. I forget what it is, but I just got it so that it doesn't have a recharge on it, so I can just spam that sucker until he's out of energy.
Well, one of the heroes has a heal,
it hits
too.
And blasts everybody out of the way. Yeah, that's the other one.
I love the Eldar heroes. They're really good.
They're really good heroes. Yeah, the heroes are still they're not. I mean, the orc heroes and stuff. Those guys are rock solid. I had no problems with those guys. But you have to be so careful with the Eldar.
The Eldar are ability heavy, and they can deal damage like there's no tomorrow. But
right,
yeah, they don't. They're not just run in and hit things. You got to be fancy with them.
Yeah, and so I was playing. I've actually started one campaign with each of the factions I haven't played yet. So I started one with Chaos. I started one with the Empire. And I'm playing through with the Eldar right now. But I at least started each campaign to see kind of how it starts. And the thing is the thing that I thought was interesting is you basically go through the same exact levels with
same levels
with each group, but the story is tweaked slightly. So like there's this one level that that you basically go and you destroy an Eldar Seer Council. And I thought, well, these are the Eldar. Why would they be destroying a Seer Council? And you totally go and destroy an Eldar Seer Council. And it's like, well, our prophecy says that we should kill these people because we've got to save the craft world. And yeah.
Yeah, the Eldar themselves are actually super bummed because they're like, we don't understand. You're like, but prophecy, and you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
the game is great. Obviously, spoilers, but the game's been out forever. But
Yeah, I
a
mean, if
really
you haven't played it by
fascinating part of the game, which I find to be really cool, is when they bring in the what is it, the Imperial thing where they show up in glass planets.
oh, the Exterminatus.
Exterminatus, yeah, where they're like, this place is screwed, just burn it down. And so they call the Exterminatus in, and the whole plot was to bring in the chaos, for chaos to manipulate the whole thing, to bring in the Exterminatus to basically wipe out the planet, specifically because inside one of the planets is an Eldercraft world.
Right,
that
it's been
nobody
sitting
knew
there.
was there.
Yeah.
And it was basically, the whole thing was chaos manipulating everybody to screw with them. And I found that not only super interesting, but super clever with how they manipulated the story. What I found interesting is there's a Chaos faction. The Chaos faction is basically going, well, I want to be in charge. You know what I mean?
Right, because
And
Chaos doesn't want anybody else in charge.
And it's what's his name from the previous games,
Right.
who basically got his butt kicked and failed because he kept losing in the previous games, and this time shows up and he's like, I'm not going to lose.
I'm not going to let these jerks take over what should have been my right.
Yeah.
I remember him. One of the first things he says when he comes, when he's on the screen is, the souls of the Blood Ravens are mine by right.
Yeah.
They belong to me, not you.
Well,
so
he also keeps losing, so I don't know what
Yeah.
claim he has on it. But anyway.
But the other thing is that about a month or so ago, I reread the first 3 books in the Caiaphas Cain series.
They're good.
And one of the things that a lot of people talk about whenever you look, like if you're interested in Caiaphas Cain and stuff, is they talk about Harry Flashman, which I'm trying to...
I brought this up last week.
Yeah. So they actually made a movie out of the second Flashman novel called Royal Flash, and it's got Malcolm McDowell in it. It's like a 1970s movie, and I started watching that. I haven't finished it yet, but I could definitely see after watching part of this movie why they draw parallels between the two, because he in the first part of the movie, he's sitting there and he's giving this speech to these schoolboys, and the gist of the speech is, you got to be courageous and all this stuff, and do your best. And then he sits down, and the headmaster stands up and says that we all know about Harry Flashman because he's a hero. His exploits in Afghanistan, blah blah blah, and it shows flashbacks, and he's totally trying to surrender. He's even trying to give the British flag to the attackers, and what happens is part of the fort breaks and falls and kills his attackers. And just as he passes out, and the relief column shows up, and they're like, good heavens, he's still alive, and they pin a medal on him. And so their impression was that he was trying to save the flag from the bad guys and everything, and suddenly he's a hero. So at this point in the movie that I got to, he's actually he succeeded in pissing off Otto von Bismarck, and so Otto von Bismarck, to kind of take revenge, is making him pose as a Danish prince, because the actual Danish prince has a social disease, but he needs to marry this princess for political reasons, and so he's forcing him to assume the guy's identity as part of his revenge. But I don't know how this is supposed to be revenge because it doesn't really sound revengey to me. So there must be something that we haven't gotten to yet. Anyway, other than that, I played Super Mario 3 today.
Awesome.
On my Raspberry Pi.
Oh, okay.
So Raspberry Pi has this program called RetroPie, and what it is it's got tons of video game emulators that are they're just all packaged and bundled together. So as long as you have the right ROMs, it can run tons of different video games. So I found a ROM for Super Mario 3. I loaded it up and started playing it, and I suck.
Oh yeah, it's been a while since like I never really played much of Super Mario World, and then I started to play it since I have the Super Nintendo Chance gave me and whatnot, and so I'm sitting there playing it, and I'm like, man, I'm really bad at this. It's like I play Rogue Legacy and I'm pretty good, but I suck at Super Mario.
I'm gonna blame part of it on the button mapping, because I'm using my Xbox 360 controller.
Oh, that's terrible.
And I mean, it's the only controller I have that will plug into my Raspberry Pi. But the thing is that the button mapping is horrible. X is jump, or not X is A is jump, but B, which should be in a different position, is run, and X, that would be a better fit for the run and everything else, is actually like turbo jump. So you hold it down and he just sits there and bounces up and down on the screen.
There wasn't a sprint on Super Mario 3, was there?
Yeah. Yeah, if you held down the B button.
Okay. Because B was attack or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it is attack, and so if you push it, you'll attack, but if you hold it down, he'll also sprint. So, I mean, I was sitting there, I was jumping, and I'd jump and miss the guy, and I'm like, I used to be able to judge this so much better. But yeah, some of it, like I said, some of it happens to be that the it's in the wrong, the jump is in the wrong spot. So anyway, played that today, had a lot of fun doing that. Went down to a meeting. We're trying to get together some stuff to do cybersecurity competitions for high schools and stuff in the state. We stopped at the Microsoft store because my boss is contemplating getting us what's it called? It's a Surface, but I'm trying to remember what the exact designation is, because it's not the tablet version, and it's not the laptop version that just came out.
They're coming out with a new skinny Surface. I can't remember what it's called.
But it's a great big 82-inch display.
Oh, you mean the that physical like table thing? Yeah.
Well, it's not a table. It's a wall mount TV. And we got to play around with that. It's actually really cool. But it's like $2,200 just for one, and we're trying to get two of them. But it's got cameras in it.
Honestly, you guys spend money on stuff you don't need. But anyway,
I know. The thing is that it's got microphones all the way around the outside, so it can tell where you are, and then it has a camera on each side. So as you move, it tracks where you are and switches the camera to be able to show you better. And so that's what when I was texting you, my boss wanted to try the teleconferencing stuff, and he's like, well, we can only use Skype on this, because it was the demo version that was on the wall in the Microsoft store, and so it was locked down to only do certain things. We couldn't even go to the Microsoft store to add and try new apps or anything. It only had what was already on there. And so Microsoft, since they own Skype, they had, I mean, the thing is so integrated with Skype. It's got Skype buttons all over the place. And so I was going to say, well, maybe my friend is at home, we can, but one of the techs finally came over and was like, well, I have a Surface here. We'll do a conference between my Surface, Surface 4 Pro and the thing, and I can show you all the nifty bells and whistles that it's got. I mean, it's really cool.
I was home. You could have Skyped me.
And I said that you were home, but by then she was already setting up to do the thing. So, I mean, I think it would have been a little bit cooler if we had actually gotten someone outside of the store. Supposedly, there's a Skype channel for demos that's supposed to be always on, but like for whatever reason today it wasn't open. So we couldn't actually like get outside of the store, but it actually was really cool to play around with and stuff. And you can actually have over 200 people in a teleconference if your hardware the Surface supports it. It's just your infrastructure would have to support it as well. And then the Surface itself, it can track like over 100 points of movement or 100 points of contact on the screen.
Yeah, this is.
I mean, who would do that?
This is Microsoft using the Kinect technology to better use. It seems like.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it was really cool to play around with it and stuff, and we actually got some really good ideas and things at this meeting we went to for hosting cyber security stuff. So, I mean, it was a busy day, and then I get back to work because I got paid to go to this thing, and I try to clock out and I can't because they lost power and nobody knows how to turn on the time clock computer when the administration is gone for the day.
See, Chance has an interesting point. I've thought of this before. He says he can never read a book more than once the same way he doesn't play a game more than once. I've read books more than once and I've played games more than once.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing is that just because you've read it and you already know what happens doesn't mean you don't care.
I played Knights of the Old Republic like 5-6 times.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that
Halo 3 or 4 at the very least.
Some of the games, Knights of the Old Republic is a good example. You can go through and you can finish quests different ways. It's built in that you can do that. You can actually
in a different, yeah.
Some of the games, Halo, it's pretty linear. You go through point A to point B. That's not saying that you can't actually enjoy it multiple times. It's just that the story wasn't built in such a way that there's multiple endings or there's multiple pathways through.
Well, Halo because
certain
it's
quests.
Fun.
True. I mean, if you have a fun game, it doesn't matter what's bringing you back. But sometimes the games are fun and they have that added bonus of I can play. Like I said, I'm interested to see where this Eldar campaign is going.
Yeah. See what it results in the end.
Yeah, because each of them was different. I love the Orc campaign where you go in there and he's just really in it for the lady's hat. And at the end, he's totally about ready to kill this lady. And at the last second, he decides not to, just tosses her to the side, but steals her hat.
The Orc campaign motivations are utterly baffling.
Yeah.
Just don't, like, you've got a nice hat, I want your hat. And she's like, I'm not giving you my hat. So, I've been playing a few games lately. Firstly, I've picked up a bit of Record of Lodoss War on the Dreamcast. I had to play a bit, figure out what I was actually doing last time I was playing. And then look up a guide to figure out what the heck I was doing and where I'm supposed to go, and then actually go back to what I was probably doing at the time. I've been playing No Man's Sky, baffling as it must be to Chance. But I've really... No Man's Sky is and isn't a lot of fun. Like... So part of the reason is I have a fancy PS4 Pro and the 4K TV. I want to be able to utilize it to its capacity, and one of the games that looks a lot better in contrast to what it was previously on the normal PlayStation 4 is No Man's Sky. It looks a lot better. It renders better. There's less graphical glitches. And so I've been playing it simply for the sake of being like, well, I got the PS4 Pro. I got to play something on it. Because otherwise... In the meantime, I'm also playing Rise of the Tomb Raider on the Xbox One, which I'm having a lot of fun on, but it's only a normal Xbox One and it doesn't come out in the 4K, blah, blah, blah. Even though it's not
Right.
purely 4K and I don't know what to tell you, it's just. Anyway, so I've been playing No Man's Sky, and a lot of it's just trying to desperately cheat my way through beating the you can only die once difficulty setting.
Right.
So that I can actually get my way through it. And essentially, most of it's just gathering as many resources as I can, looking for ways to upgrade myself or my ship or whatever, and then flying back and forth. And so I'll do that relaxing and listen to the news or some podcast or whatever. And if I'm doing something that takes more attention, I usually play Tomb Raider. But Sunday, I was sitting there going like, No Man's Sky, I'm tired at the moment. I'm not going to play No Man's Sky. So I went through to look at, and I believe it came out this month for either this month or last month for PlayStation Plus, was a game called Abzu. And it looked odd, and it's got the dumbest name. So I went on there and I downloaded it, and I was like, well, I got it for free. So I download Abzu on the PlayStation 4 and I started playing it.
Okay.
That's a really pretty game. And not only is it really pretty, but it's really fun and it's fairly short, and so it's one of those like indie games that actually pulls off the indie status and makes it somewhat interesting. I don't know how much it's worth normally, but it was really good. I really enjoyed it for the couple hours that it took to beat it, and I maxed out the trophies on it, and then I was done. The game essentially starts you out as this one person in the middle of the ocean, and the game apparently upscales and stuff for the PlayStation Pro as well, so PS4 Pro as well, so it upscales the rendering and it fixes a bunch of other stuff, so it looks really good on the PS4 Pro. But you're just some guy in an ocean, or lady, it's hard to even tell, and you're swimming and you just move from one area to another, and there's kind of a story from whatever you can imply in the background, sort of looking at stuff or doing things, but you're just sort of traveling through underwater scapes, and I'm not 100% sure you can even die in the game. But it was really cool. I really dug it, and it's hard to describe accurately how pretty and cool the game was without actually having played it, having anybody play it themselves. But it was cool enough that I was like, man, I could actually get my mother to come over and play it. And it's not so complex she couldn't play it, but she could actually beat it and appreciate it in her own way. So, I mean, it's worth checking out. If it's like a $20 game, I don't think it's worth $20. But it was really good, and you can get about 3 hours of gameplay out of it.
And it's on Steam. So it's on Xbox, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Steam. So
I thought it was really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed the game.
Not limited.
Let's see, what else have I been doing? For Pete's sake, I've got so many toys and I never play anything. I've actually just been super busy, so between either playing No Man's Sky or bouts of Rise of the Tomb Raider, Abzu was sort of going off the trail and playing something on the side, and it was quite fun. I've been still reading the book on the French Revolution, which I've still slowly been getting through. And work's been kicking my butt, but I had a full-time week last week of work, and this week I only worked 2 days, so I'm pretty psyched. And tomorrow I'm going to go see Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with my mother.
Cool.
So that should be fun. Yeah, that's pretty much my week. I could have sworn I watched something recently. I saw that Arrival, I think it's called.
Okay. Is that the one with Charlie Sheen? Or am I thinking of a different movie?
Charlie Sheen? No, it doesn't have Charlie Sheen. There's Jeremy Renner and Amy Adams.
Oh, that's a new one. Okay, never mind.
Charlie Sheen.
That one.
When was the last time he was in anything worth seeing?
I swear there was a movie that he did with aliens in it that was called The Arrival or something.
People